Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm standing in a crater. I'm with Dave Ford. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
We're in a crater because we're on the New Forest. Now, that may not make sense, but we'll try and explain that in a sec. If we come back down like this, we are in a crater, Dave, aren't we?
We are, yes. We're on the old Ashley Walk bombing range, which was used as a range in the Second World War. This is our first crater of the day.
It's fantastic, and actually you'll probably get an indication of how deep we are because you've got there coming up to just above our waists, I suppose, ground level.
Yeah, it's actually quite one of the smaller craters. There's something like 400 craters that you can still make out
Wow.
in this sort of 5,000 acre area. Yeah, actually it does form a use because in the winter it gets full of water, which
and the animals can feed
in. The ponies out there on the heath would enjoy.
Should we come out of the crater?
Yeah.
Just in case, we sink a bit too much, because there's another interesting thing. We're looking at the targets on the New Forest from the Second World War. Obviously, the RAF and the bombing. What would you call them? The bombers are trying to improve their target practice for various missions that they've got, and this is the ideal place because it's uninhabited and it's large enough. I'll just move so that we don't get the sun too much in our face. So you brought me on to this another little anomaly because it looks like a path, but
does.
It's not, is it?
No, this is man-made, and it actually is a giant circle. Made by some bulldozers, and from time to time you'll see a little bit of a ridge. There are 5 of these concentric circles, each one obviously getting smaller and smaller, and the centre was the site of the number 2 wall target. It was used just to help the pilots get a good idea of where they should be dropping their bombs. This particular area was used predominantly for testing the bouncing bombs.
Right.
The bomb would have been released something like 800 yards or so away from the wall. They needed to have a bit of an idea of where the best place to release the bomb, so that's why they had these circles.
And of course, you pointed this out in the previous video, but because there's from the sky looking down, it's pretty much similar territory, isn't it?
Well,
so without any landmarks, which of course the real targets would have had landmarks, so these are in a way simulating the landmarks on the ground.
Yeah. So and what we can do now is start heading towards the sort of centre of this sort of area, and we'll come across some more evidence, in particular some directional signs.
Right. Well, looking forward to that. Shall we crack on? Don't fall down the crater. There's, as you say, there's quite a few of these little craters spread around here. And this forest, or the heathland that we're on, which is part of the forest, I mean, it's all come back. It hasn't really been terribly badly damaged by the practices during the war.
We will see the odd crater, but the really the really big craters, those were filled in.
Right.
Let's say they do have a secondary use now as something to hold water in.
But even so, I'm just going to, just for the fun, I'm just going to run down. Not too boggy, but again, here this one's deeper than the other, and I dare say these have filled in a bit since their day.
Yeah, and what this does show, Richard, is the sort of geology of the area, because although we're on heathland, there's about 5 foot of this sort of what I call gravel material underneath, which would have been deposited during the Ice Age.
Yes.
Fortunately, it's not of good quality and not deep enough to make it commercially viable for extraction, which is good news for the forest.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to try and get out of it. But you say there are bigger ones than this?
Oh yes.
Looking forward to those.
I'm going to sound like an anorak now when I'm saying I've got 2 of my favourite craters to look at. But,
fantastic!
They're
Right.
They're quite interesting.
So Dave, we're standing again on what's clearly not the original heath, it's the original heath, but there's this difference in the grass, in the landscape.
Yeah, well, once again, if you can look down here, we've got a line, what appears to be a line across here, and then there's another line here, and this is effectively in the shape of a crucifix cross, and it would have been marked out purely in chalk. Again, it was used as a directional sign or help for the pilots.
So it's not a target in itself.
Not a target. So I think I might have said before, because there's nothing else to be able to sort of get an idea, get your bearings.
Right,
so that's
so it's
why
just another marker, really.
But it would be made of chalk. Again, the alkaline nature of the chalk is such that it still affects
even now after 75 years.
Yeah, none of the heather wants to grow back. So it would look a little bit more obvious if we were able to hover 20 yards.
I've got to get myself a drone. That's clearly what I've got to get. Yeah.
So
but maybe on Google Earth or on Google Maps, you know, with the satellite images.
It shows up. Yeah, that is a good idea if anyone wants to have a look. If anyone wants to come for a walk here, look on Google Earth, because some of these signs will be quite obvious.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So this is another marker. So we're going to just carry on a little bit.
To a little area over here. So I don't think this actually has anything to do with a compass, because south is directly over here. Whereas this really is kind of almost pointing, well, northeast almost. So I think it was more, it was, you know, there, so that once the pilots were here, they knew they were here.
They knew they were here, yes.
You can make out, it looks like a path, but in fact it's a circle. I'm just coming up to it now.
So this is a smaller version, is it?
Yeah, this was very much, this actually was linked up with a main directional arrow in the far distance. So we've got a large circle, and in the middle we've got what looks like crosshair. Imagine those no waiting signs you see on the side of a road. Again, made out, it was lined out with chalk.
Yes, in fact, I mean, it's still, you've still got this sort of chalky effect.
This was the centre, and so, you know, this was the crossfire, and you can make out a circle that goes all the way around.
It goes all the way around. And I'll just pull back a bit. We've got some horses coming through here, which look resplendent. On cue. Thank you very much. And actually, they're just walking around, almost on that outer ring of our smaller crosshairs. Yeah, amazing. But you tell me there's another crater to
we
look at.
have directly over here to the left, which we're starting to get to slightly larger craters now.
Right, okay. And this one, it looks like there's trees growing in it.
From memory, I think this has got a couple of trees.
Oh, okay.
It's got a nice round ridge to it.
We've got more.
Go by.
Yes, more ponies. Just get a shot of those for the animal lovers there. These are beautiful, aren't they?
These will be free range, and they'll be owned by commoners. And if you're wondering how do they know which one belongs to which, I mean, this one in particular, the grey that's passing by, you can see the branding that's on the top.
Oh yes, right on the top. You've got to have a sharp eye with the camera I've got, but.
The other way of identifying them, sometimes their tails will be cut slightly differently with a sort of pattern on them.
Right.
They don't have trouble with the cattle, because these days all cattle have to be tagged.
They've got those yellow tags, don't they? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the beautiful colours of the heather. No yellow on the gorse, but as we come up to the top, wow! Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just tip you down and get as high a view as I can get. We've got some trees growing in there. I'm not sure what trees they are, but it does look. In fact, I'm going to go down. May as well, because it helps give an idea of the depth. Because you can now see. Look, this is Dave behind me. You can just make out him at the top, and I've come right down into where these trees are growing, right at the pit. Some sized bomb to make a pit like this, and presumably would that have been an incendiary bomb to do this? No, that would have been what I'd call this is just in a standard bomb. So it's inert.
I guess this would be how many feet would you say this is in circumference?
Across it's got to be what, 40?
Yeah,
something like that.
We're going to see some craters later on which will be double that size.
Oh my goodness!
I know how big those bombs were. So, a substantial sized baby would have made that hole, I would have thought. And we're going to head over in this direction to what I would describe as my favourite crater.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
it's just, you know, nicely patterned, I suppose. But,
Right. Well, Dave,
yeah.
you've brought me across now to your favourite crater.
I don't want to sound like an anorak, but I think as craters go, it's a nice crater, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I think we should show everybody.
Yeah. A couple of trees.
Oh yes, definitely. There's
And again, this shows, it gives the shows the gravel that's underneath down to a certain depth.
and just going past where clearly the cows come through here quite a bit because of the mud. And here we go. I wish I knew what this tree was. Gonna have to look that up. But anyway, this is at the bottom of Dave's favourite tree, which is it's Dave's favourite crater rather. And there he is. So brilliant. Well, thank you, Dave. We've enjoyed that. I'm going to skirt past those old underpants, which are just on the floor. I won't show you those. But yeah, so that's the end of this video. But we've got a little bit more to do.
Yeah, the next bit, which I think is the most interesting bit, we're going to see what was known as the submarine pen, because that's still there, and we're going to see the crater that was left by the biggest bomb that was ever dropped on UK mainland soil.
Definitely something to be tuning in for. Join us again on the next one. Till then, thanks for watching. Goodbye.